2004 1.8 liter Nissan Sentra. I have a broken stud. I know that won't pass the 30-day inspection, so I'm going to replace it. First thing you want to do is jack up your car and support it with an appropriate jack stand. And you probably want to chock the other wheels off the ground. If I take the jack out, it will drop to the ground, but the other side you want to use a wheel chock to chock your wheels. No matter what you do, you need to wear eye protection on it every time you're working on your car. If you have a impact gun, either air or electric, you can jack the car up and then take the lug nuts off. But if you're using just like a ratchet with or a breaker bar or something like that, or a tire jack, you gotta loosen all the lug nuts up before you jack the car up. Make sure that I broke a wheel stud on Malibu. I was having a bad day. I wasn't thinking. I was tightening instead of loosening it. I snapped the stud right off. So I have a new tool that I'm going to try. And when you knock the stud out, like on, there's a little bit in there. You got to make sure you have enough room on the other side. Or you'll be banging it out against like this. If I try to do it, it's going to be against the brake. I should have planned this a little better. I'm gonna have to put the tire back on and move the car back a little bit. This is a new tool I bought. I used to pound the new stud in, and I'm not so sure it's good for the bearings, though I did it on my Malibu, and that was a couple years ago, and I had never had anything go wrong with the wheel bearing, but it took all day just about. So it seems to work a lot better, so I'm going to try it. You need to remove your caliper, and once you remove it, you have to remember not to push your brake pedal. And I always turn the steering wheel so the whole wheel's at an angle, because it makes it a lot easier to get the bolts out on the caliper. And these, I took the caliper off on the other side to check the pads, and I don't think they've ever been removed, or if they have, it was a long time ago, and they really took a while to get out. It's a really nice day today. No heat. It's perfect. It's around 70, I think, maybe even a little bit less, a little bit more. So I have to remove this bolt here and this one up here. You have to take this bolt out And then this one, and I just noticed my lower ball joints, the boot's all cracked, so I'll have to replace that. The whole ball joint. And I'm going to get one of the ones you can lube. I always get those. I got the rotor off. The first rotor I've ever had to bang on with a rubber mallet to get off. It was really on there. And it looks like the only place they have to put a stud, the old stud was completely gone. I don't know what happened. So the only place you can put a stud in is up at the top here. There's the new stud and the new lug nut. So you put the stud through from the back like that. I guess you could probably put it in from the side because it's actually a smaller diameter than this part. So I'm putting it in through like that, and then I need to get the tool. So this has a bearing like in the back, so it can turn. And you put it on like this. Then you screw on the lug nut. It's almost. Oh, that was easy. I spent like 2 hours on my Malibu. So I was banging it from the back. I didn't have any air tools at that time. I had to use a hammer, sledgehammer, and a chisel. Wow, that is nice. I think it was only it was under $20. It was like $12 or something like that. Well worth it. And then you just reverse the process. Put the rotor back on the caliper, and you're good to go. One tip: when you put your calipers back on, it's good to put 2 lug nuts on to hold the rotor on, because you have to get the alignment with the knuckle and the rotor when you put the bolts in. It makes it a lot easier if the rotor is held stationary in a parallel plane. And you may have to take a screwdriver and sort of carefully pry in on the one shoe that's on the piston side of the caliper, just about 1/4 of an inch, so they'll go on a little bit easier. And I'm sure you know how disc brakes work. This part here slides. The whole caliper can slide on this axle here. What happens when you put your brakes on, the piston pushes on that one pad, and when it does that, this keeps pushing till this one slides and the other pad contacts the brake, so they're both pushing in. But at the first part, the pad is touching this rotor, and then the resistance forces the other side to come over and hit the rotor. There are cars, I think, that have pistons on both sides, multiple pistons on one side. There's a whole bunch of different variations, but usually most inexpensive cars just have one piston. And there it is. And there it is. New lug nut and everything.